You guys can banter before we start a little bit if you want.
So what do you want to banter about?
Anything.
Let's banter about bants.
Banter.
Okay.
Banting.
All right.
With the bants.
We got the bands. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Interviews with Everyday People. Today is the 4th, which I should probably know because tomorrow's a big day for me. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
Go on 3. We're going to sing happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
That was a terrible idea.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tony. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, bud.
The harmony was good. It sounded awesome.
High fives.
Like the Beatles there. Yeah, so we're sitting here, December 4th, talking to my buddy Dave here. I got very, very lucky. Back-to-back interviews with two people that I would consider very, very good friends. Dave, I mean, dude's like a brother to me. I mean, we've done it. We've experienced a lot in a short amount of time. That we met and quickly, like we said in the last interview with Randy, we became very fast friends. But I wish I could say I'm the only one. But when Dave meets people, man, he's a very infectious person. He genuinely is he's a good dude. He's got good intentions, and once he meets you, he gives you his all. And he's a good friend. I like him a lot. He's a good guy.
Well, thanks, Tony.
Yeah, not a problem,
I appreciate
buddy.
You too, buddy. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little tonight, have a little fun, kind of just go off the cuff a little bit, talk a little bit about growing up and stuff. But for the most part, we're just gonna hang out and talk a little bit. Just kind of knock it out of the way at first because we got some feedback and people wanted a little more of an intro. I don't want to do the whole like da 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 song and stuff. That's just not my style.
So like you just did.
Yeah,
that's the intro song from now on.
Yeah, da 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 da. Probably copyrighted.
Boom, copyright.
Yeah, we just got flagged. Yeah, so we'll take care of some quick business. This is officially our 8th episode. We are now in the 2nd month of our podcast. So November went quick. Did 7 episodes. We did live shows, two mixed martial arts, 1 wrestling, 1 pop culture show, and 3 interviews. So we're moving. It's going along. It's doing great. I do have t-shirts for sale. If anyone's interested, you can pick up a t-shirt. They are $25 a shirt. They are $45 a hoodie. I know those prices may seem a little steep. I am helping out a local business. So not only you're helping out a local business, but you're also helping out a local podcast. So don't think of it as we're trying to rip you off and take all the monies and make it expensive. It's helping us grow. So anything we make off t-shirts, we can upgrade the microphones, we can fix stuff if it's broken. That's pretty much what it's for. So if you do like what you hear, you do enjoy us, the Facebook page, my personal one, and the Facebook page will have a link with a PayPal. You can put your information in there, the size of the shirt you want, and the who you are, obviously an address if you want me to send it to you, or I can take it to you personally if you're local. So yeah, if you guys want to support, that is awesome. We are a lot of people don't realize this too. If you want to listen to just the audio aspect of this podcast, we are on Spotify, iTunes, Pocket Cast, anywhere you can mostly get podcasts. We are there. So if you are driving and you want to listen to it, you don't always have to have the audio playing. And because a lot of people say I like to hear it, but when you listen to it on YouTube, it buffers a lot when I'm driving. That can be eliminated if you just check us out on any platform. If we're not on a platform, let me know and I'll see what we can do getting on there. Or if you need a full list, once again, the Facebook page has all that. So business is out of the way. So yeah, Dave.
Hi.
Dave is like I said, he's a good dude. He's a very, very talented musician. He's been doing a lot. Back-to-back musician episodes. I think we're back. No, it's back-to-back, then a break, and then back to another musician guy again. So there's a music theme coming up recently for the next couple episodes. But if I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive on you, Dave, I know we talked a little bit about this. It fascinates me, your personality. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You're very emotional, but not like in a bad emotional. You definitely know how you feel. You can't hide it. If you're angry, you're angry. If you're drunk, you're drunk. If you're happy, you're happy. You know what I mean? If you're
True statements. All this.
So you definitely wear your heart on your sleeve, but you're very outgoing. You don't seem to care what people think. You put yourself out there. You have fun no matter where you are. Has that always been the case for you growing up?
It has not, Tony. And actually, what's ironically, when I was a kid, I wouldn't talk to anybody. I was bottled up. I was actually like, the whole bullying thing. Like when I was young, definitely happened. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff we could talk about with that. I mean, it's, getting jumped after school. I mean, every kid gets that. We were kids, and it happens. But I mean, it got to the point where I had to transfer schools and things like that. So
it's I can definitely relate to you on that as well. The bullying thing, it's tough, and I mean, a lot of people, because hopefully we do have a younger audience. I do know a lot of younger people that do listen to this, as well as our generation. It doesn't take much to talk to your kid or talk to a kid and say it's a lot easier. If you want to live a tougher life and you want to go against the grain, there's a lot of different ways you do it, but the biggest way you could do it is just telling your friends to stop being a jerk to somebody. It's so much easier of a life to sit there and say, oh, well, I'm just going to go with the flow, and that kid's kind of weird, or that kid may be this, or that kid may be that, and we're going to pick on him. And as a kid that was in the same shoes as you, it sucks, and it does. Some people aren't as fortunate as us that we came out on the other side and we said, you know what, I'm not going to make this, you're not going to justify me, I'm going to be better for myself. Some kids don't have that opportunity. Some kids, unfortunately, they take their lives, they bottle up even more, they spiral, they do terrible things,
start using drugs, things like that.
A lot.
Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One big thing is that like me personally, I grew up. Like our family didn't have a lot of money, anything like that. But that doesn't mean that that's the only people getting picked on. There could be people that grew up rich that have everything, and their kids are still ragging on them. It's crazy how big disparity.
So what was the biggest thing that you got targeted for getting picked on?
I don't even remember. I think it was because maybe I was too nice. Like everybody, I remember a lot of the times when I was in school, like if someone would be like, Dave would move out of the way for you, or Dave would do this for you if you just get out of the way, and and they would take advantage of that. I mean, I'll remember back in third grade is when I found out that I was actually really blind. Like if you put my glasses on right now, you'd be like, whoa,
it's like another dimension.
Yeah. And I will never forget. It got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm telling the teacher, hey, I can't see the board. I just can't see it. And she screams at me, makes me take my freaking desk, put it up next to the board, and she's like, now can you see? And everybody's laughing at me. And I'm like,
that's a thing I got too. I can agree with you too. Teachers and adults can be even worse than the bullies, and they are the ones who spark the most. Like when you hear those stories, like, oh, this kid was bullied and he went and did something terrible, or this or that or that. It's really not hard to find that person. It's really not. Like, as someone who worked with kids and I've coached soccer and stuff, you can see a kid's not having a good go, and if you encourage it, or even you hear another kid make a joke about somebody and you add on to it, you're giving fuel. You know what I mean? That's tough. I know me personally, mine was I wore. It's so funny to say now, but I didn't have the nicer clothes growing up. So
neither. I know that feeling.
Yeah. So everyone had the Nike, they had the Adidas, and I wore Payless. I wore Walmart, and my main clothing of choice was Route 66 jeans from Kmart.
Heck yeah, Husky.
so my nickname for a while was Route 66. I got beat up because I wore Route 66 jeans. Like, as an adult talking about, that's so weird to say. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have the same jeans, and I had an issue where my hair would get greasy, especially when you're in school and you have gym class and you run around or you play or you do anything. My hair was always super thick. The Italian in me, my hair gets greasy quick, so I was I just got picked on for everything silly. But it's crazy. How you said you had to transfer school, so it got to the point where you had to leave.
Yeah. What's interesting is I just remembered some of the things as you were starting to list some things. So, I had no front teeth, none. These were not here.
Yeah.
When my child teeth came in, they came in with no enamel, so I had no front teeth. So for years I got picked on at that. I had red hair. I was a little ginger kid. I mean, come on, those are prime examples of reasons reasons.
So you look
kids
like the
can
kid
get
from
picked on.
Stranger Things for a while.
Probably. But there was that, and it would like when I was in school, I think it was 5th grade, it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I'd go down to the nurse every day with stomach pains, and they just give you this is a Catholic grade school, so we're just gonna give you a mint and your stomach's gonna feel better. Yeah,
We'll pat you in the head and ask Jesus to pick you.
So it got to the point like and I remember like that was like right around the age where I started like realizing I started thinking for myself a little bit more, and I went to my mom and my dad, and I said, listen, I can't be there anymore. I need to get out. I need to transfer schools. And luckily I was going to it was Father J. Chiswick School at that time in Shenandoah. I grew up in Shenandoah, and then we had the elementary school that was right down the street from my house. So all I had to do was just get transferred over to that, and that's what I
felt
did.
Safer going back and forth to school.
You know what? It was actually closer for me to walk to Father Chiswick's. It was a block away, as it was to the elementary school. But when I got there, I immediately felt like welcomed. Usually you get picked on. You're like the new kid. No, it was like completely different. Like I got new friends. I wasn't getting picked on, and like it felt great, and like it was awesome. And like the way it worked in Shenandoah was after 7th grade, you got to choose whether or not you went to Cardinal Brennan or if you went to Shenandoah Valley High School. And I knew for a fact, like once 7th grade hit, I was like, oh, here we go. All these people that I went to high school or grade school with and at the Father Chiswick School were gonna start coming to my school over in Shenandoah. And I was like, that whole summer I was dreading going to 7th grade. And sure enough, guess what happened? Everything spiraled out of control. It got worse. People were telling me to kill myself every day. Like all my friends that I had from 5th and 6th grade and stuff like that just started joining in. Like I started playing in the marching band. I started playing music and things like that. So but it was like up until I think it was up until about 9th grade when finally things started calming down. But there's a lot of stuff that happened between that for that to happen. Like, obviously I started playing music. My brother bought me a drum set. My sister Megan is the one who got me involved in the marching band. But I would always just keep to myself, and I'd try, but you couldn't do it as much.
Now,
there's not much you can do.
Did you have a group, like a handful of friends that you hung out with for a while, or?
I did. I had I had one real good friend. His name was Greg Taylor. Growing up, him and I, we were real close. Unfortunately, we didn't stay as close as we got older. And I would just kind of but I was always friends with everybody. Like not like friends, but I would never pick on anybody. I was just like, hey, you're another person. Let's just talk about stuff and hang out if we can. So eventually it was like, I would just kind of jump around groups of friends.
My defense mechanism was I didn't show what bothered me. Like when I got home is when I would break down. I'd have my break. I'd cry. I'd get upset. I'd come, like some days I'd come home, I'd get beat up. So I used to remember I had different routes to take home. So like elementary wasn't bad, but when I got to the intermediate school in Monte City, I had to walk all the way up to the other end of town and take the church, the big steps. If I knew I came down those steps, that everybody was waiting. If I walked down South Street where I was, people were waiting. You were safer on Minoy or Main Street, but you had to make it there because you had to walk down Pine and Market, and they were like dead spots, and that's where stuff can happen to you. So what I used to do is I would go down and I'd cut through the woods and then cut back on the South Street, and I'd run for 2 blocks that at least I knew I was somewhat safe. Yeah, I did that for a long time. I had a group of friends for a while that we were close, but once we hit a certain age and I didn't really play much sports. I played a little bit of basketball and stuff, but that didn't really help because I'd get it there too. But I kind of became friends with the group of kids that were, I guess you would consider the bullies, and I was with them, so I didn't get it as bad, but I was the friend who got the brunt. Like I was that friend who got messed with. But they accepted me. But like to other people, I was kind of safe. But I really wasn't, because it still wasn't the greatest. But I actually went to a different school for a little bit, not because of the bullying, because I didn't get it to get to me that much. But I went to play a different sport. I went to go play soccer for North Schuylkill, so I kind of got away from it there. It followed me because I had the same thing. High school is high school. school,
Yeah.
and I was alone. I didn't have the same luxury you had when I went to a new school. I was like the new kid, and they're like, oh, the new kid, F that kid.
I loved that back then.
Yeah, but when I came back to Monty area, I met a group of friends, the Littles, and then I became really close to them, and by that time I just didn't care what people thought. So when did you hit that turning point? Well,
I would have to say it was probably right when I started playing music. I mean, my brother bought me my first drum set. Like I said, my sister Megan got me in a marching band. I started playing. I was this little tiny kid playing the big bass drum. I could barely carry it. I remember my first year, I was like 6th grade, and I fell over so many times. The first game I ever played was at Lackawanna County Stadium, and I'm just rolling over. This little kid.
Did they try to push you in a different instrument?
No, I just kind of just got that. You know, I had no idea what I was doing. My sister's like, "Do you want to come play in a band? What am I gonna play? Bass drum. Okay, I don't know what to do with that."
Yeah.
So
now, did you always play the bass drum throughout the band?
No.
Did you eventually switch to the snare?
Yeah, I eventually worked my way up. See, interesting. We can probably tell that whole story kind of. So I started doing that, playing the bass drum, and kind of watching people's hands to figure out what they were doing, and then eventually. My brother got me the drum set, and then my mom started taking me for lessons up to CNC Music up in Hazleton. There was a guy named Jeff Johnson who was my first instructor, and then from then on, right then, pretty much the day after I got that drum set, I was killing my neighbors already, but I had no idea what I was doing with the drum set. So I call the next day I get a phone call, and me being not popular or anything like that, had no idea.
No one's ever reached out.
Yeah, why is someone calling me? And sure enough, it was this guy named Mike Spears. I don't know if you've ever met him or heard of him, but he was my first guitar player friend. He calls me up and he's like, "Yo, I heard you got a drum set," and I'm like, "Yeah, I got a drum set," and he's like, "We're starting a band," and I'm like, "I don't know how to play it," and he's like, "I don't care. I'm coming over your house tomorrow night." And that's how it started. Literally, it was me and him in my attic, just starting to learn songs together. And God rest his soul, he passed away this year.
Yeah, I do remember you putting that up there, and you got the news, and you were really upset about it. Take us back to that. What was the first song you practiced together? What was your first song as a band?
Well, there also another kid named John Yeager kind of got involved right in the beginning there too. It was "Nothing Else Matters" by Metallica.
That was your first introduction song.
That was because it's so simple. You don't even have to. When you're playing guitar, you just have to pluck strings in the beginning, and then the drums are just boom, check. It's so simple. But then we started progressing and get some more difficult songs, and then Spearsy and I would do "Train Kept a Rolling," and I don't know if you heard Steve talk about that at all, but the first time he saw me play in a band, we played that, and it's one of his favorite songs of all time.
It's Aerosmith.
Yeah,
even though it's a cover.
Yep.
It is a cover. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so we would do that, and we just did it, and John was in there, and then eventually Andy Hedder, who's you interviewed and you talked to a little bit, he ended up him and Smurf and Andy Hare showed up at my house when I was 15, and we played together for a night, and it was crazy. It was we're all these people from Pottsville just came to my house because they heard this guy has a drum set.
Yeah. Schuylkill County is weird. So Schuylkill County is definitely two different counties in my opinion. Almost maybe three, but we'll just say two for the sake of argument. So you have the Monty City, Shenandoah, we'll say Tamaqua, McAdoo area, who they're coal towns. They do what they're very
north of the mountain kids.
The north of the mountain kids, and then you have the south of the mountain, the Pottsville, Minersville. They love their music in that section of town. I'm not saying that north of the mountain doesn't, but if you're a band, and even to this day, if you're a band and you try to play a show in a Monty City or a Shenandoah, it's tough. I mean, some people will appreciate it, but for the most part, it's hard to be a musician, and not many people try to step out that way. It changes a little bit in Frackville. I think Frackville's where the two waters kind of mix.
Do you want to know a fun fact about Frackville? Do you know the altitude difference between here and St. Clair is?
What's that?
It's over 1,000 feet. We're 1,000 feet higher than St. Clair.
I did not know that.
It's crazy. Me and my buddy Ed at work were looking at it one day, and we're like, That's why whenever you go up the grade, your ears start popping.
Yeah.
You're going up 1,000 feet.
Wow.
Anyway, next.
Next. But yeah, so you being that kid from Shenandoah with the drum set, it was probably like almost like a diamond in the rough for the most part, because there was not many people. I know me growing up, the only thing that you did at that point was you just played sports.
Yeah.
Like our area of the mountain, like especially like growing up in Monte City
Baseball.
area, like our areas, if you didn't play basketball or football, you weren't shit in that town. Like they didn't care. Do you have any experiences with school growing up you wanna shed light in?
Not particularly, only because like when I was in elementary, I did modeling stuff, so I wasn't there a lot of the time.
It's a big difference.
And then the kid would the one kid that was in elementary with me, he was flipping through this, like I think it was like a Sears magazine or something, and he was like, "Mom, look who's in this magazine! Like it's Nikolai." And she's like, "No, it's not." And they looked and was like, "Yeah, it is." Like, but I did play a new like electric guitar instrument kind of thing for that magazine, so it was kind of cool. But that's really the only musical connection.
We gotta find that picture.
So you've
I
always
have it.
So you've always been into the theater aspect, the entertainment side as well.
Well, it all started because they were like, he's too shy in school. So they're like, oh, put him in entertainment or something and maybe give him some kind of like push.
Maybe that's what happened to me.
So, I mean, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
The shyness.
I almost had a modeling gig as a baby. So
Yeah.
my dad was obsessed with he got a new camera and he took pictures of everything. And he took pictures of me with a Huggies box. I was a baby and I was still in diapers and I just was like a ham. Like you put a camera in front of me, I'd be like, let's do it. Like just taking funny pictures. And he sent them to Huggy. I don't know the full story. Maybe I'll ask him during our podcast next week. But supposedly, I guess Huggies contacted him and they were like debating to make me like the Huggies baby for a while. Like, could you imagine if that would have went through?
Oh my God.
Like the Huggy. I would have been like the Nirvana baby. Like my. It never worked out though. I didn't get that Huggies money.
Did you ever get the Huggies money?
No, I was close though. I auditioned, not the Cosby Show most people remember, but the Before show where he lived next to an elementary school. They had this like mass audition in Philly, and the judges came up to me and they're like, "We want this kid," like as they were walking by and stuff. And they took you back in a separate room and they wanted you to pretend like you were eating M&Ms, and some kind of guy was like making me practice it. So then when I got in front of the judges, I was like, I ate my M&Ms back there, and I just wouldn't eat it in front of these people, these fake M&Ms. And I was like, imagine what could have possibly came out of that.
You probably dodged a bullet.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but think of all the pudding pops.
Yeah.
Are you sure they were M&Ms?
Are you sure it was pudding pops?
The pudding.
You were slipping drugs in your Huggies. Allegedly.
Allegedly. No, he got convicted, didn't he?
Oh, then yeah, he did it.
I don't know.
Allegedly, just in case I don't follow the news.
Sounds like Pat McAfee right there.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, because
he jumped in a river.
I love Pat McAfee. So my turnaround was high school, because at that point I just didn't care anymore, and I hit my puberty and I got a little taller and bigger, and I got not much bigger. I was still tiny as hell.
I was gonna say it must be nice to grow.
Yeah, but I just didn't care anymore. Like I guess my depression and anxiety that I hid for so long actually helped me as well, because I got so good at getting beat up. Like everywhere I went, I just got beat up. So I just got really good at getting my butt kicked. Well, I didn't curse. That was impressive. But so I got to the point where I was like, yo, I can take a beating longer than you can hand one out. And then when I started then I realized if I can turn it, once you're tired, I start fighting. I only had to do it once or twice, and then if enough people were like, I don't want to fight that kid no more, because I'll probably beat him up, but I'm sick of getting hit in the face. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't quit. I was kind of an idiot. So it just kind of got boring for people to pick on me, because it just didn't appeal to them anymore. I remember I went to my first day in 9th grade in high school in Monte area. They grabbed me and they were going to try to throw me in the girls' locker room. And to their surprise, playing soccer my whole life, if you're gonna try to grab me by my legs, it's not gonna work out for you. Yeah. So I got tackled, they got me down, but once they got me down, 2 kids were trying to pick up my legs, and I just kept kicking like a mule, and I kicked kids in the chest, the face, the whole nine, and they just got so tired of trying to pick me up, and I wasn't wearing out, and I was like, yo, I'll do this all day, and they just let me go. They looked at each other, and they just went to the next kid. And then from then they just didn't, and then I just kind of stayed to myself, and no one bothered me me until I met the littles. And then, I mean, I still had a core group of friends here or there, but for the most part, like, I just kind of stayed to myself. But yeah, so you said music helped you with that.
Yeah, like what happened was, you know, I started playing the drums. I started playing. I would literally get home from school and spend 6 hours at night playing drums. And I was always kind of like respectful to my neighbors. I wouldn't play like past like 9 o'clock. Like I'd be like, okay, we get home 3 o'clock, play until I can't play anymore, type deal. And I did that. And then one other big thing wasn't me for a change. Was not me.
We'll get into that in a second.
The other big thing is I went to Votech. And then for half a year of school, I would be at Votech, but that kind of like set everything off. So started playing drums, started doing Votech. I was working, and when I was 14, I started working at Little Venice Pizza in Shenandoah. I was working there full time almost.
I worked at a pawn shop.
What's that?
A pawn shop. I learned how to hustle at 14. I literally walked down the street. Our house burned down. We bought a house on Center Street. I walked down the street, and there was this guy, this like Italian dude. He looked like a mobster, and he had a very young girlfriend, wife. They were together so long, it might have been a wife, Maxine, and she was like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I just want to look around and buy stuff." So we're sitting there going, and because I just didn't care, and I was open. I just was like, kids say the darndest thing. I just say whatever I want. The guy was like, "Oh, how much is for this game?" And he's like, "This much." I'm like, "That much?" I was like, "Dude, you're like, that's way too high." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know video game prices." So he pretty much hired me to be like his video game movie guy. So I was so much into the pop culture scene, I knew what they went for. Yeah. And then I also knew how to hustle people. So somebody would come in with a brand new copy of like the Madden that year, and he'd be like, I just got it for $60 at GameStop, but I want to sell it, because he probably wanted drugs because it's Monte City, or booze. So he's like, I want to sell this. I'm like, all right, $20. He's like, no. I'm like, $20. And he's like, I'm going to take it up the mall. I said, go for it. You're going to waste your gas. You're going to drive up there, and they're going to give you $20 store credit, where you're going to get $20 cash here. 14 years old, talking to a grown man. He leaves and comes back, and he's like, can I still get that 20? I was like, did you go to GameStop? He goes, yeah. I'm like, you got store credit, didn't you? And he goes, yeah. I said, now it's 10 because you didn't listen to me the first time. 14 years old. And then the guy would be like, Tom, help me out. And he'd be like, what he said is true? He goes, yeah. He goes, you're lucky I don't knock it to 5. And he's, because I had he was a big dude, so no one messed with Tom. So he'd be like, fine, 20, fine, 10. And then I'd take the 10 and I'd give it to Tom, and I'd say, the 10 that you would have sold this for, you could just bank for my pay. And then I got the new copy of Madden. But yeah, I had my muse for a while, like, to help me. I was always around older crowds for the most part. So like,
kind of me too. You know, like for instance, my buddy Spearsy, Zach Heisong, and Spank, we used to. Here's an interesting thing. My mom would kill me if she hears this. So in reality, my dad and mom got separated when I was in like 6th grade, and my brother and sisters are like a lot older than me. So
there was a big age gap.
Yeah. So like from 6th grade on, I kind of like was stuck by myself. My mom would go to work, and I would be like, you know, I was at that age where you're kind of like 11, 12, like I don't know how old I was, like. But I was old enough I could be home and I'd be okay. Right. You know, and my mom trusted me.
She did.
It wasn't until I got to about like when I started hanging out with Spearsy and the music and everything like that. Well, they were a little older than me, and they had vehicles. So my mom started working at another at a hanger factory in Ringtown. I forget exactly what it was called, a Tyco or something. And she was working 3rd shift. So she would leave for work at 10 o'clock at night, and all my friends knew that, and they would come over, pick me up at about 10:30, and we'd go out till like 4 or 5 in the morning, maybe even longer, and then I'd sleep the whole day during school. And I still aced everything. Like, I still had straight A's.
So at school, you might have not. People didn't know you were living a certain lifestyle, so they probably seen you as still like probably the shy kid, but then realized like you're literally
sleeping.
You're a rock star. You're hanging out with an older crowd. You're hanging out with kids from other towns, and you're living the dream. Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting is like as high school progressed, like you could tell, like all those people that were picking on me and everything like that, they could see that I was doing some cool things, and it led to me and my actual first band, which was Stillborn.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever remember hearing that name.
Yep.
Worst band name ever, and I think it was Katie and Ange that came up with that name. It was Zach's sister and her friend Katie. They were my prom dates from prom in senior year. But they came up with that name.
2 prom dates?
Yeah, I had 2 prom dates, and I was prom king.
Nailed it. Didn't go to prom. I was too punk rock for that.
But so what would happen with that is, so we would have these practices up in my attic where it was like literally 3rd floor on the top of a hill in Shenandoah, windows open, you could hear it over the entire town, and we would play and people would find out about it, and we'd hold these things called open practices, and we'd get 100 people up in my mom's attic. Like, people would just come up and down the stairs. My mom's just laying on the couch sleeping for work. Oh, go up there, it's no problem. My mom was great about it, you know. It was hilarious. So we'd have these huge I remember the one time we had so many people up there, the floor was literally moving like this. Everybody was bouncing up and down, and that was, you know, we were just a regular little cover band trying to write songs and be a band, and then
it was like the Aristocrats movie where they just keep smashing down each floor.
It was pretty much almost that. And eventually we had our first show, and it was at Cardinal Brennan High School, and it was
a band named Stillborn.
Yeah, but the best part was it was for a Relay for Life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
So we're this band Stillborn. We're playing our first show, Relay for Life, at Cardinal Brennan, which is a Catholic high school, and we're like,
here comes abortion.
Yeah. So it was us, and I think it was Dave Crossan and Mike Bunner's band. I think Jamie was in the band at that time. I don't know if he was in our band yet, but it was A Circle's End, I think it was the name of their band. So they opened up for us. There was 300 people there. 300 people through the door. It was $3 a head. We made almost $1,000. It was awesome.
And you were still in high school?
Yeah, we were still in high school.
That's awesome.
But the best part is like, we're flying our high school with these flyers, Stillborn, playing the Relay for Life, everything like that. I think I was sitting in.
Was it funny to you then that you were doing?
Oh yeah, I was.
Okay.
I was not a big fan of the name, but I'm sitting in class. I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Yedin's class. He was one of our like social studies teachers, and they go, Mr. Yedin, is Dave Cantwell there? And he goes, yep. And he's like, send him to the principal's office. And everybody goes, oh, you know, like, and I'm like, I don't know, what did I do? I have no idea. And it's Philip Andrus. That was the name of the principal. So I walk into his office, and he slams the paper down on the desk. He goes, what is this? I go, it's my band. And he's like, what is this band name, Stillborn? It's vulgar, it's vile, it's everything like that. I mean, it's not really that bad. We're playing a Relay for Life. And he's like, a Relay for Life? I'm like, yeah, we're trying to raise money for the Relay for Life. So we put a band together, and we had this name, and we're like, that's all we could come up with. And he's like, so what are you doing? I'm like, we're going to play some songs, and we're going to have some money and raise money. And he's like, all right, I'll let it slide. So we got away with it. So Stillborn all over the place.
What was can you break down a little bit of a set list of what Stillborn played?
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea? Can't remember.
Train Kept a Rollin' was one of them, because that was Stillborn was the band that Steve saw. Yeah, part of me. This beer break is brought to you by Keystone Light. I paid for this endorsement.
They actually sponsor the boys upstairs.
They do. Anyway, here, have a little dash.
All right, thank you.
No problem, bud.
So you're doing the band thing, everything's going. So obviously that turned the page for you. You know, once people said, "Oh, this kid's doing stuff."
I opened up, you know, like, and I started being me, and like I started listening, like thinking back, like now that I'm like kind of revisiting this stuff. I'll never forget this one day. I was in 5th grade. Okay, had never played drums in my life, anything like that, and they Shenandoah brought a band in, like a cover band, like to play music for the kids. It was pretty neat, and I just remember that, like, that was the day that I had the inspiration that said, I want to do that. And like, one of my goals was like, I want to be on stage being a musician like that. And sure enough, I can't even make this story up. my senior year, I got to play on that stage in a band.
Yeah.
And I was like, nailed it.
Was it still Stillborn?
Yep.
Yeah. So then you went from, I mean, we're going to probably bounce around a lot here. So you remember bands after Stillborn? How many bands total were you in?
Oh, goodness. Stillborn ended when I went to college, pretty much. And then I don't know, I was like in and out of bands. I was in a band with, I don't know, I don't remember any of the names of the bands.
Really?
But like I was bouncing in and out of bands all through college, things like that. But then I eventually ended up in Truck Stop Love Child.
Awesome.
And you know how that all happened. A lot of people, I probably already know this, but my nickname's Cousin Dave. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got my nickname, is from the people from the guys from Truck Stop Love Child. My cousin Anthony was a part of that band, and he goes, "Everybody, this is Cousin Dave," and they go, "Hi, Cousin Dave." Then from then on out,
because that's exactly how, and like Anthony, that's how he, once he finds the one thing to call you, he hangs on it. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who called you Little Leo all night, or Leonardo DiCaprio. And he called me Fat Mark Wahlberg the whole night. Yeah, that was my nickname the whole night, and he stuck with it. He didn't break it. He's a good dude. Mm-hmm. Very, very fun band.
So I would always go, like when I was just playing in the bands, I'd go to their practices, hang out, and they're a few years older than me, so I'm like just eating it all up, like learning everything I can, because they're a band. They were like, to me, like I was 16, 17, they're the best band I ever saw in my life, you know. And then eventually they decided to hire me on as the drummer, and I played in that band for a few years.
Yeah. And then from there, do you go to the band that trying to say without spoiling?
Yeah.
That was your next step?
That was pretty much it. I was in college. I went to college for 4.5 years. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, but I almost have like 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. Let's not get into that. But I ended up I was dating a girl for like 3 years. It was pretty much my last girlfriend.
I was gonna say.
And I remember getting a phone call from Jaybird, and I had just started hanging out with Jaybird and all of them. Jaybird ended up coming and singing with us in Truck Stop. He sang a song on the Truck Stop album, which you can get on Spotify.
And this podcast.
Yeah. So he calls me up and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing Friday and Saturday?" I go, "Nothing. It's like Monday night." I go, "I don't really have any plans. I was probably just gonna hang out with my girlfriend." And he's like, "So we fired our drummer. Do you think you could come play 2 shows with us?" I'm like, "Dude, I've never played double bass in my entire life. I've never been in a metal band. I have no idea." He's like, "You'll be fine." You know how Jaybird does that? Yeah. "You'll be fine. We'll swing it. So I showed up at their place Wednesday and Thursday night, and we practiced 2 practices and went and played 3 shows that weekend.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of put your own spin on what was. I mean, you played what was already there, but you had your own style to it.
Yeah. I dumbed it down a lot. Yeah. there was a lot going on. Danny Kaye is a great drummer.
Yeah.
But sometimes there was just a little too much going on. So I just, maybe instead of I do, like a little.
But what you would make up in it is your performance on stage, the crazy drummer style.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just throw my body into it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. He drums like Animal from the Muppets. There's no style. There's no. Dave's just everywhere.
Full on breaking everything as I hit, as I play.
Yep. And it works. I mean, even when you guys just did the Dookie show a couple weeks ago, people that really didn't see you behind a full drum set because you've been playing a cajon for a while. Were like, "Holy shit, Dave, you're a psychopath."
In reality, I used to play drum set with Cyanide like 3-4 times. It would be like twice a weekend. Yeah. All the time. And then when we were touring, it was every day.
Yeah.
And then for like 4 years, I didn't play drum set. Yeah. I played cajon.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like have met me over the last few years. When they get to see me, they're like, "Where did that come from?" And I'm like, "Well, you should have saw me years ago because I'm fat now. It's way harder."
Yeah. So yeah, Cyanide. So I'm very, very open-minded to music. I love all music. Some of the heavier scream metal is tough for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's a tough sell. Went to a show. I know I kind of told a story a little bit last podcast. I went to a show with my cousin Brian. We went to Goodfellas, and we seen for $3 you walked in for
$3 American.
$3 American. You seen seen. I completely forgot the name again, but it was Joe Coons' one of his first bands. It's like Hands or Waking Up Hands. It was a hand on the album. I remember I bought the album. Joey's a good kid. He's doing acoustic stuff now, so definitely check Joey out. He's a good kid. Then we seen Faith in Exile. Great show, very good show. Then Crowbot comes on. And
great band.
And people were, and this is Crowbot before like they hit it big, and it was insane. I remember sitting there, and I mean, like, and this is not a knock.
By the way, Faith in Exile is a good band too.
They are very, very good. Faith in Exile is a very, very good.
And
band.
They're coming back.
I know. I'm excited for it. But it was a typical, night where it takes a long time for the crowd to get into the band. And this is not saying that Faith in Exile didn't capture the audience, because they did. The people who came for their band were excited, but the room, each section of the room was for a certain band. Crowbot hit the stage, and Brandon hit his first note, and the entire room just went, "What was that?" And it set the night off. Now, once again, not bashing Faith in Exile because they're a great band. I'm excited they're coming back, but that's just the appeal that Crowbot had at that time. And they were and like I said, now they're a touring act, and I seen them for $3. Like, yep. You know what I mean? And then Cyanide Sunrun gets on. They get on, and they like. Crowbot was a great opener for that night, because you probably could have went up in there and did nothing, and the crowd was already into it. Faith in Exile started it off, got everyone hyped, very heavy, very good. Then Crowbot came up, and everyone's like, "Holy crap!" And then Cyanide comes up. And you guys tear it up. You actually broke your glasses during the Crowbot set, headbanging with me. That's how we first met. Dave comes up, he's like, "Hey, check it out." And he starts headbanging. His glasses fall off, and then he steps on them. And then played the rest of the night blind.
I think
you taped them up.
I taped them up, but I think they fell off when I started playing. They just fell
right off your face. They were done. Yeah. You didn't see anything.
That was a bad night, because not only that, but we had a delay in the audio coming out of the monitors. So I had to like literally unplug my monitor in between a song, because what I was hearing was not what they were what they were playing. So I just had to just zone out, and I do that a lot. A lot of drummers will agree with me. You have to kind of do that.
Yeah, but it was an insane show. Jaybird, took the stage. Fish backflips, going crazy, getting yelled at for standing on stuff, and they kept telling him to stop, but he doesn't stop. Fish destroying on guitar.
Meatball with the godlike vocals.
I love his like he had the vocals of the band. Jaybird was the screamer. Jaybird had a good vocal too, but Meatball had a really good voice. I don't know if we can say the other guy's name because he was in a mask.
I think it'll be all right.
Kevy. We'll just say Kevy. Kevy killed it. He was doing awesome. I didn't know it was Kevy. I met Kevy years ago through my cousin Jimmy, and didn't know he was actually in the band because he was wearing a mask. And then later on we talked, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" Holy crap! And we're already past that already. So it was awesome.
I think you're the first one though. I don't think I did it.
I knew I was going to be the first.
Nailed it.
Amazing show. That band, Crowbot, obviously, took off. Faith, they're coming back, but they're also a good band. But then Cyanide was starting to take off as well. You toured most of the country for a while, doing the rockstar thing, but kind of paying your own way through shows and getting yourself on festivals, and you were getting a lot of exposure. The band was, you guys came home for holiday break. And the plan was if I'm not mistaken, after the holiday break, you guys were going to go and sit down and do kind of like a showcase show like Crowbot did, and that would have been probably the turning point.
Well, we had a lot of stuff lined up. We had a show in Las Vegas lined up. We were supposed to play South by Southwest, which is big. That's the showcase pretty much. Yeah.
Like in Austin?
Yeah, we were booked. Yeah,
that's awesome.
We were getting ready to do all that stuff. It was like that was 6 months we were out there, and we just gotten back, and everybody was tired. I lived with Jaybird and Meatball and Randy at the time, and even Crowbot was living with us pretty much. We were all kind of sharing a house at one point, and I just remember coming home, and we parked at Fishy's, and I left, and I was like, I'm out of here. I need to get away from all these people for a few days.
Not going into detail, but you guys come home for the break, and we lost Jaybird.
Yep.
Yeah, we lost Jaybird. Maybe a future podcast will talk about it and stuff, but the kid lit up the planet. When when you go to shows, you go to tours, I mean, he took your attention, and he was amazing. He was unbelievable. Like, that's not even a type of music I was super into, but that album from front to back is a great album.
Thank you.
It's a great album. It's really, really good.
I'm proud of it. There's a lot of good songs on. Probably, like, if I wanted to say, like, one of my best drumming works, even though I'd like to go back and, like, fix a little things there, is probably "Make a Scene" with Charlie Sheen.
It's my favorite song on the album.
On that album, I love that song.
Favorite.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We for a while there, we got to the point where we wouldn't play it anymore because it's a little awkward. There's a lot of weird stuff going on,
and the tempo changes halfway through.
Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah,
but it's fun. Like,
yeah,
it was pretty cool.
It's a great album. We'll definitely, hopefully one day dive in a little more to the Jaybird and honor him, because I definitely think he deserves it. That is something I have planned. We already talked about it a little bit, but we'll get away from that because but we'll raise one up for Jay.
Yep.
For Jaybird. If we had Blackberry Brandy, we'd be doing it.
Let's get that clink. Yeah. That good sounding clink.
It's more here because we started late, so I got one going. Thank you though. So Cyanide, you know, that ends. It tried to get picked back up, but it just wasn't the same without Jay.
Yeah. Well, once that all went down, I personally decided I didn't want to move forward with it. I was like, I'm done, guys. If you guys want to do, if they really, I know a few people were adamant about going forward with it. I said, if you're going to do that, I'll help you out in any way I can, but I'm not doing it without Jaybird. And that was the end of it for me. And it was like I mean, I knew what was going on and everything like that, and that kind of fell apart. And then, like, a month later, I was like, I just need to get back behind the drums, and I joined a band called American Evil.
Yeah. And that,
excuse me,
a couple months, right? That lasted a little bit.
Yeah. Probably about a year.
And then you joined the band you're in now.
Yeah.
The Boys Upstairs.
The Boys Up the Stairs.
Yep. And that's when you introduced me to Fulton.
Don't ever Google that name.
Don't Google the Boys Upstairs.
Do not Google it.
Facebook it. You can Facebook it all day.
Facebook, the Boys Upstairs 570, I think.
Yeah, that's Instagram, I think.
That's all of them.
Yeah, it's all of them.
Just don't Google it.
They're a really fun party acoustic band.
You can Google it after this.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't Google it. Don't
all
Google it. I mean, you can Google. You're gonna Google it.
No, I'll take your word for it. I'm okay. I don't need anything in my browser history.
You're gonna Google it. But yeah,
Everybody's gonna Google it now.
Yeah, that's a fun band. You guys crack me up. You guys do a good job. You're a party band. It's a good time. It's a little bit. You're getting more back into the drums now because you're starting.
We're playing shows that can play the drums.
Yeah. So. But that's a lot of fun. I go to a lot of those shows.
I can't feel my hands anymore because of that cajon.
Yeah.
It was like
it beat you up.
Yeah.
You broke 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Yeah. 3 or 4.
This one's holding up though.
He plays a cajon like he plays a drum, so he beats the garbage out of it.
I had one fall apart on me the first night.
Yeah, he literally had the cajon like folded like a piece of cardboard.
Jeez.
And then he had one where he put his hand through the screen.
No, well, that was Steve putting a foot through it because he was drunk and he decided to kick it.
Yeah,
his foot went right.
And then
he
played the rest of the show and it cracked and destroyed his hand.
Yeah, blood everywhere.
Fun.
But you keep drinking, it goes away.
Yeah, just bleeds more.
But yeah, so you're really into me. I feel like we're tying a lot of stuff up, but I don't want to do that yet.
We got lots of time.
Yeah,
Let's go.
We're at 46. But yeah, so any funny road stories you got?
Oh man, there was a lot of cool road stories. We did a lot of touring with we would go on like a little month tour with like a band called Undisclosed. Oh man, trying to think of the other name. They played in St. Clair. Ben's the drummer.
Oh no.
I'm terrible at this. Ben, I'm sorry.
You're gonna be tagging this. Ben's gonna be upset.
I know. God.
Realistically, no one listens to this anyway. You'll be fine.
I know, right?
Like it's gonna be like 2 people I work with and my mom.
I can see their logo in my head.
You'll be fine.
And we were off and on with a bunch of cool bands.
Is that the band that the guy filled in for?
That's Undisclosed.
Yeah, they were a good band.
Yeah, their drummer looked just like me.
Did he?
Yep. And we swear that like maybe like there is like a random story out there that my dad may have like flown out to like Los Angeles and hitchhiked his way back and forth.
Yeah.
Like apparently he hitchhiked his way to the guy from Star Trek. William Shatner.
Yeah.
Hitchhiked his way to his house.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Knocked on his door, and like just started talking to him. He's like, "What?"
Your dad hitchhiked to William Shatner's house?
That's what I heard. This is a story I heard. And then he ended up like knocking on his door, and like he ended up meeting him, and no one believed this whole story that he hitchhiked all the way. My dad was a nut from what I heard too, like from his things. But he hitchhiked all the way back, and then William Shatner was doing like a showing in the area, and he walked over and he goes, "Bill, how you doing?" And William Shatner goes, "Flip, how are you, man? Good to see you." And like just ignored everybody, went over and talked to my dad.
That's awesome.
I didn't want you're like your dad wasn't like, what the hell? You just came across the country and you're here?
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like, imagine.
He's probably like, "Hey, Flip, don't kill me."
Yeah. My dad, a lot of people knew my dad growing up too. They said he used to like scale the corners of buildings all the way up to the top of the building, and then do handstands at the top, and then scale his way down.
No way.
So he's like the original parkour.
Yeah, like pretty much.
Yeah,
like
before it was.
I mean, that was probably like the 60s that he was doing that, you know?
Was your dad originally Shadowlow area as well?
Yeah. And actually, the interesting fact that my last name, Cantwell, is not really my last name. I'm a Cavanus. And my dad changed our names in the 70s at some point. I don't know exactly the whole story behind that. So I'm not like really familiar with most of my, like I have a lot of family in Maunai City, you know.
Yeah, I know the Cavanuses
over there.
I drink with one every now and then.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah. And but yeah, there's that's like some crazy stories. Also, I got another good story. There's this guy from I don't even know who he was really, but he came to my dad's like not viewing, but like party. I threw a party for my dad instead of having a funeral. I was like, let's just drink and party.
For the record, that's what I want to. Just put it out there.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And he showed up and he started telling stories about him. And he said the one time he started working in a paint factory, and he was very like, he couldn't really like work for people. Like he had a hard time doing that. And he got so mad at the one guy, he lit up a cigarette in a paint factory. The whole like factory caught on fire, and you just see my dad walking out with a cigarette. I don't know the truth of that story, but these are stories I've heard.
Wow. I just imagine what that would be like on film. That would be like something that you'd write in a script.
Yeah. Was your dad also a musician?
He was. Him and my godfather, Chris Cadu, he's DJ Party Time right now. He does a lot of DJing work if you need someone.
I'm very familiar with the Cadus.
Yeah.
I grew up with them.
And so he's my godfather, and my dad and him were in a band called Raw Nerve. And
okay.
They were making more money in the 70s than we make right now in the Boys Upstairs.
Really?
And not for inflation. They were making more money than us.
Wow.
That's because back in the day there was just so much money in the music industry because you didn't have DJs, you didn't have jukeboxes, you know, like
you didn't have YouTube.
No, you didn't have any of that. What's this confangled YouTube stuff?
Was your dad also a drummer?
He was not. He was a guitar player. My dad was a guitar player and a singer, and people would come from all over the place to see my dad sing.
Yeah.
Yep, he was really, really good.
What was his style?
Like CCR, like the Animals, things like that. Like Rolling Stones. Like
is that why House of the Rising Sun's a tough one for you?
Yeah. I mean, after he died, the first time I heard that song, I broke down crying. So
It's an emotional song already. But,
yeah.
And that's probably why you have a very strong connection to CCR as well.
Hell yeah.
So fun fact, we kayak a lot, right? So Dave brings a speaker.
So should we tell the story of this steer too? Go ahead.
Yeah, we could do that. We definitely do that. So we go kayaking a lot, and Dave brings a speaker. What do you want, number 5? Speaker? 4? 5?
No, yeah, probably.
So if you're looking for waterproof speakers, there's a whole bunch on the bottom of the mini Skook, courtesy of Dave. But Dave, the entire kayak ride is playing CCR the whole time through. Yeah,
but it's great. It's like perfect river music.
It is perfect, and then sometimes we'll throw Steel Panther on, and we'll
all the time, and I'll scream at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, Steel Panther's a good time. So go ahead and tell this year's kayak story.
So we go kayaking on the Little Schuylkill out of Auburn to Port Clinton. Usually we try to go every Sunday.
Yeah.
And the last time I went this year, it was right after one of those floods, and We don't wear life vests. We have our life vests. Shh.
We wear life vests.
We don't wear life vests. And
I wear my life vest.
we get to this part what's called the chutes, and that's where you go through the chutes. Everybody wrecks. Everybody's dumping their kayaks and dumping everything, so people will catch the kayaks and the people
And the coolers and the beers.
Yeah, and literally like from the chutes to where you can stand is maybe like 20 feet. It's not that far. Well, we didn't really think about how fast that water was moving. And I go through the chutes, and everybody's going through. I go through the chutes, and I do my normal thing where my kayak fills up with water. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get out of my kayak and ride my kayak in. Well, here, whatever was going on with the water, it was churning real strong and sucking everything back in. So it sucked me and my kayak back into the fall. And I'm like, oh.
It's not funny at all, but I'm just thinking of I'll tell it in a second.
After the fact, it's a little funny.
Yeah.
But so it keeps sucking me back in, and then eventually my kayak gets shot out of my arms because that's how fast the water was moving. I'm like, I have no life vest. I'm trying to float and keep myself afloat as I keep getting sucked back into this waterfall.
And you're screaming?
I wasn't screaming yet. It took a little bit, but then everybody started realizing. I finally the panic set in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna die. And I started screaming, help, help, and like screaming help, and everybody's like freaking out trying to get to me. And
Except one guy.
Yeah.
Why, did you try to Snapchat it?
Everybody was Snapchatting because we always do. We always Snapchat people wrecking there.
I wasn't actually there that day. Our good friend Tony Snapchatted it.
I don't know if it was his Snapchat, but he was helping me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but so anyway, I'll finish that story and you can tell that one. So luckily, someone had wrecked and their dry bag shot into my arms, and I was like, I held on for dear life. Like it had air in it and everything like that. I'm like, oh my God. And once I held on to that, I floated in the middle of the two waterfalls, and I was able to like catch my breath. And they eventually got a life vest to me, and I was able to put that on, and I was able to climb out. Excuse me. And Mike, thank you for helping me get out of there, and thanks to everybody that helped me get out of there because it was rough.
So this tragic event is happening, and I get a Snapchat of help, you know I need somebody, help, not just anybody. Tony made a musical to the Beatles. To the Beatles' Help, with him screaming for his life.
Gerald Lennox came up with that idea too. But it was so crazy because after that all, it's hilarious, I know. But after that all went down.
Imagine if he would have died.
I know.
And that would have been on Snapchat.
Someone would have probably still done it. Someone would have probably still done that. But so we get done doing that.
It's terrible.
We all go out to eat, and everybody's like not talking, and everybody's quiet, and I'm there like, you know, I just almost died. I'm drunk, so let's have a party. Like I'm trying to get everybody going, and everybody's like, so like, was there because I almost died. You know, I can see why. Sorry, guys.
My first kayaking experience, I almost died right in front of Dave. So we take Heidi, who can't swim at all. Let's go kayak. Which is a horrible idea. Like, don't even take Heidi.
You gave her the worst kayak.
I didn't know it was the worst kayak because it was like my second time kayaking. So we take Heidi, and she's in a stunt kayak. So it's a little it's a tinier kayak.
And just spins around.
And when you try, it's made for heavy rapids. So, but if you're on calm water, you could literally sit there and it just spins. So Heidi's like, choo, choo, spin. And I'm getting pissed at Heidi because it's not her fault at all, though. I have no idea. I'm just like, how do you not know how to paddle? Like, I'm freaking out on her because everyone's trying to get back, and we're running at a daylight, and Heidi's a quarter way down the river, just like, I can't figure it out. And so at the time, I'm probably my heaviest. We'll get to that too in a little bit, but I'm at my heaviest. I squeezed. Steve tries to get in, he couldn't do it. He tried to get in, couldn't do it. I somehow fit in this tiny kayak, and I said, get my kayak and just go, Heidi. She goes, I'll wait for you. I said, just paddle and get to them. We're almost at the end. So I look at Dave. I said, Dave, if I flip, you're gonna have to jump out and get me because my fat ass is stuck in this. I'm probably gonna die. So I'm literally paddling, and we're at luckily we're at the deepest part of the water, and I paddle, and I go, well, rewind. I try to get Heidi out because she gets stuck on everything in this tiny kayak. So I'm like, don't paddle. And she says she didn't paddle, but I swear I seen her arm move. She unjerks herself, hits me in my knee, and dislocates my knee. and I literally pop it back in, and I just like, I look at her, and I just said, I rip her off the rocks. I said, go. And then that's when I finally switched kayaks with her, because I couldn't take it no more. I'm freaking out. So I'm paddling. My knee is hurt. Like it's swollen. I'm paddling, and I look at Dave. I go, shit, and he goes, what? And I just go,
He dumps it.
I'm underwater. Now I am sitting in a kayak. I'm kicking my feet as hard as I can. I can't get out. In my mind, I felt like I was in there for a minute and a half. He said it was a couple seconds, but in my mind, I was kicking, and I couldn't get my fat ass out of this kayak. And I can't open my eyes underwater, but I kind of did, and I just see Dave in his kayak staring at me, and I'm in my mind, I'm dying, and he's staring at me, and I'm just like, in my head, I'm like panicking. I'm like, this fucking asshole never got out of his kayak.
The worst thing I could have done was get out of my kayak and try to help
Realistically, because I was panicking, I would have killed us both. But I'm just like freaking out, and I'm just staring at him.
It's also like 13 beers deep by this time too.
Yeah, we already crushed a 60 pack, and I'm kicking, and I finally get out, and I get up out of the water. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even get to breathe
like,
yet.
You good?
Yeah, he's like this. You good? With his eyes, and I'm just like, you dickhead. I didn't even get my breath. I'm like, you dickhead, I was dying in there.
Nah, you're all right.
Yeah. So I grabbed the kayak.
walk it off.
I grabbed the kayak. I swim to the edge. And Dave's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Just go." He goes, "What?" Now when I finally kicked my fat body out of this kayak, I cut my whole the knee that's swollen, because it was so swollen. I couldn't. That was what was kind of holding me in more. I cut the whole front of my leg. So now it's swollen. And I'm bleeding everywhere. And I hike up this embankment. It's like 90 degrees, and I get up on the train tracks, and I walk with a swollen dislocated knee, blood everywhere. And I just carried the kayak on my head, and I walked the rest, like a mile, walked there, and they're like, "Tony, throw the kayak over." I'm like, "Fuck you!" I throw it through the bushes.
He was so mad, and that was his first kayaking experience too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I looked at Heidi, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "I love you. I still love you, but right now I don't want to look at your face." And then I realized, because then we took it again, that kayak, they got retired that day. It was retired. Never was used ever again. They're like, "Yeah, that kayak's not good." I'm like, "Oh my god!" And the water was that deep. It was like the worst time to ever go kayaking.
It was literally the worst day.
But if you ever want to go, it's a great time.
It is a great time.
It is so much fun.
I'll probably go again.
I was gonna say I've never actually been kayaking.
I still hyperventilate every time I see a waterfall.
I don't think I'm doing the shoots ever again.
I'll do them.
I'm
not afraid.
Once again, 13 beers deep.
I'm gonna definitely wear a life vest this time.
Yeah, strap it up.
And we got a recovery strap. I bought a recovery thing so we can, like, if someone gets stuck, we can throw it to them.
Lasso them.
Yeah.
What if you drowned with the lasso?
Then it'd be like a hanging almost.
Yeah. No, like you can't give us a lasso to save you.
Oh no, that's why you give it to someone who goes through to the other side and is ready with you.
So it gotta be Kendra.
Oh no, anybody. Kendra goes through.
A lot of times she goes around.
Most of the time she goes right through.
Who doesn't go?
I go. You only went a couple times. I go all the time.
The times I went, she went around. She was like, "I'm not doing it this time."
Yeah, 90% of the time she does it.
Oh, and that same time too, another funny story about that kayak thing. When Kendra's dad hooked Heidi's head.
Yeah.
He accidentally hooked her lip. He got her in the lip with his fishing hook.
He did catch a fish though.
He did. He got a bunch that day, and then he caught Steve. And Steve freaked out. That was funny too.
Steve at a diva.
Steve freaked out and ran away. It's so much fun. Like, I definitely recommend it. It's a good time to go. But yeah, man, it was. So as we crack beers and keep getting fat, me and Dave talked a little bit last night about an idea for the show and a good way to get Dave back on. Because I think Dave might be our first reoccurring guest on the interview.
Heck yeah!
So
I'll talk about anything. Let's go.
Yeah. So Dave, me and Dave are gonna come up with this plan. there's kind of some loopholes to it, but we'll get through it. We'll work our way through. So we weighed ourselves before the podcast. Dave, you were at
210.4.
210. I am 222.2. I'm straight deuces.
Deuces.
Which is crazy because Bucky gave me a Deuce McAllister glass last night, and he was 22.
It's all about twos.
It's all about twos. That's creepy. So
there's no the universe isn't giving any signs, Tony.
Nikolai, what do you weigh? You didn't weigh yourself.
I'm like 130.
he's like 100.
Jesus Christ.
He's like 115
That's soaking
pounds.
wet.
Yeah.
Tony's like 2U. We're gonna start weighing ourselves in Nikolai's.
Right.
So every time we do this podcast again, we're gonna just say, okay, I'm like 0.78 Nikolai.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Is that cool? Can
Yeah,
we
I'm
do
good
that?
at being a measuring system.
Yeah. So we are about to start the Nikolai measuring system.
Yep.
On the.
I'm 2 Nikolais.
I was gonna say I'll probably be a little sore if it's in height though, because
It's okay. You're not that much smaller than me, but weight-wise, we got you there.
Yeah.
I think my arm might weigh as much as your entire body. So.
Yeah. I'm 2 full Nikolais. So let's think of that.
I'm like, all right. So you're like 130. I'd be like.
You're almost 2.
1 point. Yeah, I don't know, like 1.88 Nikolai. Mm-hmm. And it's Nikolai, not Nikolai, so you can't have the S on it.
Yeah, Nikolai. I'm 2 Nikolai.
From here on out, interviews with everyday people.
Yep.
We weigh ourselves in Nikolai.
So we're gonna do. We both have. Well, he legit got it. I got it given to me by somebody. We both have DDP yoga. So
I also do other things. You're kind of screwed on this.
really.
So
Yeah.
what is that?
I lift like twice a day.
So Tony, what is that for people who don't know, like me? I know what yoga is.
So DDP yoga. DDP was a wrestler in the 90s, 2000 era, and he started in his wrestling career late, like what normal people would say would be a later time to start. And when he came in, he became a world champion. He was much older, and not a lot of people start at that age, but he was always in really good shape, and people couldn't figure out how he did what he did. And he's genuinely a good dude. If you really want to look up YouTube stuff,
There are a couple great videos out there of like a guy who couldn't even walk.
he was a paratrooper.
Yep. And for like 20 years couldn't walk, and he was able to walk again after doing DDP yoga for what, 6 months?
Yeah, he dropped like 4 Nikolai.
Yeah.
And
literally 4 Nikolai.
He was literally walking with like crutches.
Those ones that go behind your
Supported crutches, and by the end of like 6 months or a year, whatever he did. Now we're gonna do the yoga, but I probably won't do the dieting thing because I don't have all the stuff for it. But he was running, like sprinting. He couldn't walk by the end of it, and every time he tried, he'd fall. Like, so I've never really done yoga, so it's something new to me. I'm probably gonna mix it up and do other stuff too, but I'm gonna do the yoga as well. So we're gonna do a weight loss challenge. Like 4 months.
I don't know. How long do you want to go? I think 4 months is a little long. I'm thinking
3.
I don't know.
Because I feel like he's saying 4.
You want to do 4 months and see where we're at in 4 months?
That's
okay.
around like St. Patty's Day, right?
Okay. What's 4 months from now? December, January, February, March. It'd be St. Pat. It'd be the beginning of March. Let's go to March 1st.
March 1st.
March 1st.
All right, so that's all right. So that's like almost 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So March 1st.
A little bit over more.
So there is stipulations to this. We're gonna bet $100.
$100.
$100. Now, if
Not weighed in Nikolai.
So obviously we can't do BMI because we're not scientists. That's exactly how we said it.
Yeah, and you weigh a little bit more than me, so
Yeah.
it's a little.
So what we're gonna do is, if we both do this and we both lose a significant amount of weight and we look different, and we're just gonna call it a wash, and we're gonna take our $100 each and go get drunk.
I'm thinking I have a better idea.
All right, go ahead. What do you got?
All right, and I think this might be cool. I say we take the $100 that we were each gonna bet. All right, we take it and we go to the casino and put it on black.
I'm with it. I like that idea too. Both on black.
Both on black. All of it on black. So we put $200 on. So either we walk out of there ripped with no money, or we walk out of there ripped with $400.
All right. Now that can also work too. Is if we just decide 3 weeks in that we just don't do it, and then we're fat pieces of crap at the end of it, we still do that.
Yeah.
Now, if one of us,
I'm in.
hopefully not me, decides, hey, I'm slacking and I don't pull my weight, but Dave goes and he busts his ass for 3 months, he wins. He gets $100. All right, that's how we're gonna do it. So if we both show that we just like we put it in, we worked. Document it too, because I don't want someone like a week and a half in saying like they just go super hard, run 8 miles a day, but they didn't do it for the 3 months before that. So you gotta somewhat document. We'll keep tracks of it.
We have 2 witnesses right here.
Yeah. So we'll make like a group chat or something, and we'll take pictures of like different progressions and stuff. And we were gonna take our shirts off, but that's not good for anybody.
I'll take my shirt off.
This guy don't care.
I'll stare right at the camera as I do it.
This is not good for anyone.
That's right.
And I love you, all my viewers, and I don't want to lose videos. I have 4 people that watch me on a regular basis, and I don't want to lose them.
4 whole people. We're gonna change that with this video.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna take photos before and after. So if we do look really good, then I'll be like, yeah, I'll show that fat Tony. That's not me anymore. And I won't be fat Mark Wahlberg. Maybe I'll be like somewhat
thin Mark Wahlberg,
somewhat better looking Mark Wahlberg, because that gets a maniac.
I just look like everybody, so it doesn't matter.
You would look like if you got thinner, you would look like a bald version of the dude from Mythbusters.
I already look like a bald version of the dude from Mythbusters.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have hair.
He's bald, and I look exactly like him.
Yeah.
I have a picture of me looking exactly like him.
Yeah, the guy from Mythbusters. It's hilarious.
Anyway.
So we're gonna do our weight loss thing, and then in 3-4 months,
March 1st, mark it.
March 1st, we're gonna have Dave back on the first week of March, and we're gonna show you guys the results. You can follow me on my page. I'll probably show some stuff. All
Ladies,
social media.
You're welcome already for the 2 of us. We're gonna be so cut.
Probably not. I'm gonna try, but I probably won't be. No, I'm not. Well, you're not welcome to me at all. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on.
Yeah, I don't got one of those.
Dave don't, so all the ladies go to Dave.
Yeah, already do.
Yeah, check him out on your local Tinder Bumble app. But add us on social media. We always try to tag everybody when it comes to these videos. We're at we're almost we're over an hour and 10 minutes in. It was fun. You have anything you want to ask Dave about? You've met him for a while. Do you have anything you want to dive into? And I'm probably that sounded terrible because I was way over here.
I mean, it's not really a question, but being on the outside kind of thing and not knowing you as long, that warmth and like friendliness that you talked about earlier and stuff, it's like an instant thing. Like when I'm around new people, I'm more on the like, I'll just wait for them to kind of talk to me kind of thing. And you are right in there, like.
Oh, he don't mess around.
And I don't know.
But that comes.
I remember first meeting him. I'm like, oh, you do. I was like, I wanted to just know everything about you. I was like,
and that's the thing. I think that comes back to the bullying thing too, where he knew how it felt like to be the sheltered and quiet, and he sees that in people, and he gravitates to it. He don't want people, and that's the thing with like. I think I can share the same qualities as sometimes. Maybe I'm still a little. I'm not as warm as Dave. I'm pretty cold when it comes to certain things. I don't give a lot of people a chance. I'm trying to get better, but when you grow up and you know that's how you don't want people to feel that way, and that's Dave definitely lives that lifestyle.
And I mean, I definitely think the more people that like randomly meet you, they're gonna really appreciate it as much as I did, just because like your housewarming party, for instance, I knew you and Tony, and just knowing how like welcoming you were, because I was like,
we left you for the wolves too.
Yeah,
we literally said Nikolai House, and then I got drunk and watched UFC fights.
But I think I went around and introduced you to everybody, and that's the big thing to me is whenever I meet new people, like Tennessee. Remember Tennessee?
Tennessee, yeah.
Did you ever meet Michael Keane?
I don't think so.
He didn't.
His
name's not Michael. It's Tennessee.
That's a really cool. That's one of my favorite stories. Is like he showed up he moved here from Tennessee to work at HBC.
Did you meet him at Maz's, correct?
Yeah, I met him at Maz's. I went to Maz's to get some dinner.
Real quick, time out. I just talked to Cindy the other day, and I told her I'm going to do this. Maz's. So we're going to talk last night, real quick. We'll get back to it, I promise. So we're doing like little commercials in between. I like helping local business. So
sponsorships.
Yes.
Free dinners.
Yeah, if you want to throw me a wing or like, I don't care. No, they go well above and beyond to help their customers. So I'm not even saying anything like sponsorships, but we'll just joking around. If you are an Eagles fan, and you're looking for a place on a Sunday to watch a game, or even just a good bar in general to go to, great prices, and they're very warm and welcoming. Maz's is a great place. I go there every week with all my Redskin stuff on, and it's a Eagles bar. I mean, this bar is an Eagles bar, and every now and then you'll have the one person who has no idea who I am. They look at me and go, what are you doing with your stuff on? And the regulars or the owners will say, he's here every week, or he's here all the time, he's one of us. Like, and so that whole perception of, you know, all Eagle fans are dirt balls, it's not the case at Maz's. I mean, if you
there was some, and
there was
we
some.
weeded them out, you know.
But if you go in there and start trouble, obviously you're gonna find it. But for the most part, they are a great crowd. I was just given an Eagles memorabilia last night, and will I reuse it? Probably not, but I will definitely cherish it because the guy who gave it to me is a good dude, Bucky. But yeah, they're a good place. So if you are an Eagles fan and you're looking for a place to watch an Eagles game and experience what you would experience probably what I would experience downtown Philly, in Schuylkill County, Maz's and Frackville. But go ahead. So you met Tennessee and Maz's.
So Tennessee, yeah. So I'm sitting there and I see this young guy at the end of the bar, and I'm like,
he's a Redskins fan too, by the way.
Yeah, he's a Redskins fan.
Love him.
I'm like, I have no idea who you are. And when I was living in Frackville. I think you were at my house in Frackville at one point.
Yes,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We played beer pong.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh
So,
yeah. We're by I know.
The one with the bar and all the lights and stuff. So I'm there and I'm like, what's going on, man? I live here and I've never seen you before. Like pretty much, I said, like, I was trying to be nice, but like, what's up? And he's like, hey, my name's Michael. I'm from Tennessee, and I had to move here for my job. And I'm like, how long you been here? He's like, oh, a few months. And I'm like, man, did anybody show you around or anything? I'm like, what are you doing Friday night? And he's like, I don't got any plan. I think it was like Thursday. I was like, come out tomorrow. I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of people. You're going to have a crew. We're going to have a good time. I'm like, and sure enough, and I had to kind of it was cool because I kind of wanted to bring him under the wing and say, okay, this is going to happen with this person at this time when they have this many shots, I know this guy's going to probably try to fight someone, you know, like. And
I know everyone you're describing.
and I'm like, just bear with me.
I love my friends.
Bear with me. It'll be fine.
They're crazy, but if you're on there, if you're with us, you're with us.
Yeah. And so I'm like, just don't worry about it, because the next day everybody's gonna be like, oh, I screwed up, you know, everything.
I'm drunk. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. And that's how it happens here. And sure enough, like it was so cool. Like I flew down to Tennessee for my buddy Eric Homa's 40th birthday party, and I got to run into Tennessee. He moved back down there with his girlfriend Ashley.
We got to get out there.
I was down there and I got to hang out with him, and I got to see the other side of Tennessee. So I plan on going down there again. It was so
we
much
should make
fun,
a group. Like a group of us should go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That dude's a good dude. His girlfriend's really cool too.
And if you're listening,
we love you, man.
Love you, man. Miss you.
We miss you a lot. He was here a short time, but we had a lot of fun with him. We took him. Dave, you know, but we went everywhere together. We hung out. That's the thing I do too. So, you know, a lot of people know that Ben's running the board, and we have Nikolai.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. You know, I met Ben through, you know, at the movie bar. I met Nikolai through FYE, and then I would say I have a group of friends with Nikolai, and I have a group of friends with Ben, and then I have Dave, and so I have like different groups of friends. Oops, sorry about that. But Ben and Nikolai are probably like one of the first people where I took and said, oh, I want you to meet this group of friends, and I want me, like, and that's a cool thing to do to people too, because meeting other groups of people, it definitely, it's hard to maintain friendships, but it's a lot of fun to do that and get more, you know, and that's positivity, and that's spreading it, and that's a lot of fun. But yeah,
Losing September. Remember I was talking about Ben earlier?
Yeah.
That band that we were touring with, Losing September. Forgot it. Sorry, guys. That was my fault. ADD sometimes. When the F did we get ice cream?
Yeah, when did we get ice cream? So we have a lot of.
What do you got coming up, Tony?
A lot of cool stuff coming up. The next interview.
Nikolai, what do you got coming up?
Go ahead. I have a lot more going on with this. I can promote on this, but I'm sure you have a lot too. But go ahead.
So, a couple months ago, I guess it was closer to a year ago now, I worked on a film called Ben is Back, which is with Julia Roberts.
Ben never left.
Julia Roberts. You're in the movie with Julia Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a extra part.
Yeah.
But I was in the scene with her and stuff, and that comes out this like holiday season. So
really,
yeah. So
I'd love to see it.
To see that.
That's awesome.
Other than that, I mean, just stop motion animation stuff for me for a while. Making some films here and there.
Maybe we'll see some clips.
It's possible.
I like it.
Like a Jimmy Kimmel thing. Like, hey, Nikolai, roll us in this clip.
We sit back and watch.
Well, I mean, I am
Who's the
one
band
that
playing?
edits.
So fun fact, I got a like a not like a cease and desist letter, but like a letter from YouTube for the last interview with Randy. I guess YouTube somehow found I played like 30 seconds of Randy's band's one song.
Yeah.
And I got a letter saying like, we're gonna contact them, and if they don't like this, you're gonna have to take this down.
Oh yeah, that you have to give them props in the description of videos and stuff like that.
But they were like, if you don't, like, we're gonna contact, like we're gonna tell on you. And then
under 20 seconds or something, 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, but Randy was just like, dude, don't worry about it, I got you. But it's like my first cool like experience where I could be in trouble on YouTube. So 7 episodes in,
I already got it happens.
So, but thank you so much, Randy, for the interview. He's doing cool. I think every kitten but 2, I think, found a home.
So half the kittens.
Half the kittens found a home.
I know one home that didn't want one.
Yeah. So we left and went to our friend's Thanksgiving dinner. Friendsgiving, or there's a term for it.
Friendsgiving. I was cooking dinner.
Yeah, he cooked dinner. So we went there and we had dinner at Steve's house. And Randy brought a box of cats. And Steve hated it. He literally looked like Kenny from South Park. He had his hood up, and Kendra had cats in the bed, and he did not have a good time with the cats.
It was fun.
Yeah, there was kittens everywhere. But they were really cool kittens.
They were cute. They were sitting on the stairs.
They were there sitting on the stairs.
Like, how cute is that?
And then just my favorite one is actually still available, the gray. But yeah, like I said, in the descriptions, Randy has there, and I think Kira's probably trying to help too. But there's a lot of, if you're interested in kittens, I think there's two available. Yeah. But yeah, coming up next week on December 10th, which is actually my brother's birthday, Austin, you'll be home. He'll be home soon. So cool thing, Austin will be home on the 18th. He's coming home from the military. He's in San Diego right now, so he'll be home on the 18th. And he will be 21 years old officially when he gets here.
Really?
So nice. we're gonna go crazy. So that Friday night, probably we're gonna go out with my dad and my uncle. Saturday night, I don't think there's plans, but maybe we're already making them for him. I don't know if you guys are playing, but if this they week? Are, no, the week of the 18th. So next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
We'll figure something out.
So my brother will be home for I think he's here till maybe the beginning of January, even before that. But he has to go back eventually. But yeah, he's 21 years old, so we're gonna go and get him a little silly. That's why I said I'm gonna stop drinking at the end of December, because with this weight loss thing. So I'm gonna start in December.
Going down, bro.
As long as we do it together, I'm good. We motivate each other.
I need to stop drinking all the time.
Yeah, yes.
But tomorrow's a day of mourning, so I'm gonna drink.
I mean, it's my birthday, George.
And it is your birthday. Are you off tomorrow?
No, I'm not.
Take tomorrow off. I'm off tomorrow.
I'm not.
It's the day of mourning.
I can't. Listen, he died 2 days ago. Why can't that day be his day?
Well, it was like more like 4 to 5 days ago. It was November 30th, I think, wasn't it?
We'll celebrate it next year.
They couldn't stop the mail in time.
Well,
so
it's a day of mourning, but a day of celebration of your birthday.
Yeah, but why does Bush gotta ruin everything for me? That's selfish. I'm sorry. Bush, I don't care about politics. I have no idea what you did your entire career. I don't know. I know your son was hilarious, and Dana Carvey did an amazing impression of you. That's all I know. That's all I know about Bush.
But I just want to say thank you to you guys for having me on. Nikolai, Tony,
not a problem.
Ben running the board over there. Thank you. I'd love to be back again anytime you want to have me. But it was a pleasure being on here.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, but like anytime you'll be back on a little bit, and we'll hopefully be a lot slimmer. We'll look smaller on camera. I barely fit in a frame now. We'll try to
shirt off right now.
Yeah, real quick. Sorry. So December 10th interview. We'll be with my dad, which would be interesting, because he has a very interesting life, and volunteer firefighter, which is, if you haven't grown up as with a father or a family member as a volunteer firefighter, there's things that you're going to learn in that interview that are just kind of going to blow your mind. I'll be honest with you. They're kind of strange, and if from an outside source you'd be like, your parents are terrible for doing that, but that's just kind of how things went down. We'll get into that more. So a lot of people too in the picture, speaking of Bush, people seen in the picture my dad with George Bush Jr. So we'll dive into why he has 2 pictures with George Bush Jr. in front of Air Force One. So we'll dive into that. And then later on in the month, we have Tony Roman. I don't really know much about Tony Roman.
I could give you a little. So Tony Roman.
Yeah.
Tony Roman is part of the Roman family. His cousin is Vinny Roman, who owns Romans
I do know that,
in Frackville. Tony's he's from this area, but he lives in Orlando, and he's pretty much a professional musician.
Yeah.
And he's a great dude. He's a good friend of ours. He fills in with the boys upstairs. Over the next few weeks, when he comes home, he's playing bass with the boys upstairs.
And it's awesome.
So
it sounds good.
Yeah.
His bass lines are awesome.
Yep. So to plug a couple shows there, Vince, we're playing at Romans in Frackville on December 28th.
Yeah, we got to get a crowd there.
Yeah. So if you want to come check it out, you'll get to see the boys upstairs with Tony Roman, who will be a part of this. His interview will probably be before that.
We'll do another quick plug. Romans, a very good place too. Their staff.
All plugs.
I love their staff. I'm not even like bullshit. Like their staff is awesome. They do a great job. The owner's cool. His kid's Joey Coons. So I'm going to interview Tony when he's home. I'm going to learn a lot about him. I'm just going to kind of let him roll and kind of talk how we talked. But yeah, he's very, very talented bassist. But yeah, he'll be here. And then, will
that be our first phone call, or will he be here?
No, he'll be here.
He's
okay.
Here.
He's here. He's coming home. He's going to come back to the area. But from there. But yeah, we do have
I think he comes in the 20th.
So I don't think I have anyone that's really not in the area that watches my shows yet. I know every week I always say it, if you're interested in doing an interview, please get in contact with me. I love meeting new people. Like I said, right now I'm kind of in my comfort zone. Tony will be my first interview where I'm really out of my comfort zone because I don't know much about him, which I kind of am looking forward to because I get to learn more. So I want more people that I don't know much about because I want to learn, and that's kind of why I started this. I want to learn more about people and experience new things. So if you're interested, please hit us up. Let us know. We'll definitely get you in. I have a laundry list of people that, I put one post out and a lot of you gave me amazing feedback. So I have a lot of local people that want to come on and talk. I'm not 100% sure what you want to talk about yet, but we'll definitely get into that. So I know you just put your message out there and it may look like I ignored it and I didn't, but I wrote every one of your names down. So starting after January, I usually plan the month before. So when January comes, I'll start working on February, and then February, and I try to do 3 a month. We may kick it up a little bit to 4 just because more people are interested, and we'll keep the interviews going. We have a show coming up Thursday, so we'll take tomorrow off. We'll be back Thursday for the MMA show. Then the Friday after that will be our wrestling, and then we'll probably do we might do an MMA Thursday and then a wrestling again on Friday because there's a pay-per-view I think either before or after that show. I know it's coming up, and then we'll end the week with our pop culture show, which was a lot of fun. That was a cool time. Hopefully, we'll have our full panel back with 5 people. But those shows too. I mean, if you're interested and you have something to talk about, you're more than welcome. If let me know, and I'll try to fill you in. I can't get you in all the time because I have regulars, but if someone drops out, I could definitely get somebody in if you want to come in and sit down and do stuff. But we're always looking to better ourselves and add more content. We're looking to possibly do like live stream video game shows where we just kind of talk and have a couple drinks and play video games and see what happens. But yeah, man, the support you guys have been giving us has been awesome, and it means a lot to me. People, even those, like I had 3 or 4 people buy shirts. It may seem something small, but it means a lot. Like, it means you guys are supporting it, you like it. People give me feedback, good and bad, and we try to build from it. And the support you guys have been giving is amazing. I love you guys so much, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. But that's pretty much all I got for this show. Thank you again, Dave, and we're gonna do our little weight loss, and hopefully I'll be a lot smaller soon because I need that as well. Thank you, Ben, for the board once again. Nikolai, always, and we're gonna break here and square us off like a fight here. Square off photos. No, we're gonna do our promotional photos, but everything will be in the description.
Gotta go this way.
Yeah, everything will be in the description. Check out everything. Follow Dave. Follow the boys upstairs. Come see some shows, and let's have a good time. And trust me, you come to a boys upstairs show, you will have a good time. I promise.
Yes.
Expect to get drunk.
That too. Pro tip: if you want a little inside information on the boys upstairs, I'm gonna get close. We're gonna get sexy.
Get real sexy like that.
So if you want to get this band a little tipsy,
don't you even don't know.
And they play a lot crazier when they're tipsy. They like shots, blackberry brandy.
No, we don't.
And every time you get a shot, every time you buy them shots, you get a special song played for you.
Oh yeah.
You didn't hear that from me. All right. Thank you guys so much. Interviews for Everyday People, episode 5, officially.
Dun dun dun.
Dave Cantwell. Thank you, guys.
Cousin Dave.
Love
See
you guys.
later.
Love you guys so much. Bye.